I think we'll get started. So hi, welcome everyone to our last product update for 2023. Thank you as always for taking the time to join the session today. So I'm Jenna Buttershaw. I'm the product knowledge manager here at accessplanit, and today's session, as usual, will be to take you through all the latest features and changes. That'll be for all the things that we've done within Q4. And then as usual, we will have a little bit of an overview of the features that we are currently working on as well, to give you a bit of a view into the future. If you have any questions as we go, please pop those in the chat or the Q&A, and I'll cover all of those off at the end. So yeah, as I mentioned, agenda-wise, first we'll cover off that new functionality features that have been made available in Q4. Then we'll have a run over the features that are coming in early 2024. And then, of course, wrap up with that Q&A at the end. So lots of questions as we go, please. All right, so kicking off, we had, in November, we had our latest update, and that included 2 checkout updates to the checkout basket. And the first of those is support for Barclays EPDQ payments. So that's Barclays is now our 6th payment gateway available in checkout. So there are a lot of options available if you are either looking to start taking payments online, or if you're looking to switch suppliers. There's quite a few options available in there. So that was the first checkout update. The second one is support for partial payments or deposits within the basket. So now you can offer per course this deposit option through the basket, which means that instead of your customers paying the full balance up front, they can choose to pay anything from that minimum partial payment amount that you define up to the full value of the course. So as you can imagine, this could be quite a valuable tool to boost bookings, especially on high value, slightly more expensive courses, because it means that your customers can spread their payments, reduces that upfront financial commitment, and then they can make further payments via their learner portal or the manager portal. So if you've enabled partial payments on a course, when someone clicks to book it and they go through the basket process, they will see this new option available in the payment stage. So it'll just be underneath once they've selected their payment method. So for example, here we've got the Barclays option selected. Once they've chosen that, they'll then have the option to pay in full or pay that deposit. So I will give you a quick tour of that, just so you can have a look at it, what it looks like live. So here we have the basket, and I'm just going to be booking onto the emergency first aid at work course. Booker is Addy, and they are also the delegate that's going to be attending. We head through to the payment stage, and then, as usual, first thing you'll do is select who's actually going to be paying. If this wants to load for me, that would be nice. Okay, we'll try that again. I'll head through to the payment stage. So then, as I mentioned, the first thing we'll do is choose who's paying. So Addie can pay for this herself as a private booking. Then we would select the billing address, enter any discount codes, select our method of payment. So if it was Barclays, we would select the Barclays bank. Then we can choose whether we want to pay everything in full, pay the full £80 up front, or whether we'd like to pay a deposit. It will pre-fill in with the minimum amount that they have to pay. So if Addie tries to change that to pay 40, pay less, then she won't be able to. And if she tries to pay more, again, she can't. Then she could say, I want to pay £76 now. Click to make that payment, which would then launch that Barclays pay page. So if you'd like to offer partial payments through your courses, you handle that via the partial payment settings. So this isn't available in your platform yet. Just get in touch with a member of the team and they'll be able to enable it. But that lives, if I just get this expanded, when we head over to edit any of our courses, it's within the financial section. So I will grab my emergency first aid at work course. And then if I jump down to the financial options on the page, it's set up here. So typically the course is £80 per delegate, but I can offer a £50 deposit upfront or partial payment, or I could make that percentage. So as I mentioned, if you don't have those options in your platform at the moment, just get in touch with a member of the team here and we can get that enabled. Okay, so moving on, this is actually my personal favorite feature from the November release. So to tailor your platform to suit your processes, capture information that's relevant to you and your team, you can create custom fields throughout the platform for those users, accounts, invoices, and we've added in support for resource-based custom fields. So here is an example of a custom field that you can now create, a new field called training formats. So you'd be able to flag here whether your trainers can only deliver web courses, class courses, or both. So obviously this information is available for reference, but more importantly, when you're selecting a trainer for the course that you're running, you'd be able to filter using this. So you'd be able to filter to say, exclude any trainers that have webinar only when you're running a classroom-based course, just to make sure you're always choosing the most relevant right trainers for your courses. Of course, you can create whatever fields you need here, so hopefully without sounding too corny, there are endless possibilities. This was also one of our most highly product suggested features for this year. So I'm going to use a few more examples based on the product suggestions that we received of the kind of things you could do with resource-based custom fields. So this one here is languages spoken. So if you offer courses in a variety of languages, you can now record what languages each of your trainers are able to deliver courses in. So when you're running a French course, you can filter your list of trainers so that you can only see those who can deliver in French. So in this case, it would just be Simone. As another example, being able to record the average customer feedback score for each trainer. This could be very useful if, say, you were running a course for a new big account and you wanted to make sure you were assigning one of your strongest trainers. You'd be able to filter and say, only show me trainers that have a feedback score of 80 or higher. And then, of course, this is resource-based custom fields, not just trainer custom fields. So here's an example of a kind of, a venue field that you could set up, which is venue layout. So obviously some courses are a lot more appropriate for a classroom layout, whereas some do better with that kind of horseshoe U-shaped arrangement. So if you define that against each of your venues, what's its typical layout, then when you're scheduling your course, you can pick the right venue as well. Just a few more examples. So things like for trainers, you can record highest qualification level, what's their area of expertise, how many years teaching experience have they got, and what's their training style, obviously whatever is relevant for you and your business. Then venues, just a few ideas on that. What kind of facilities and amenities does the venue have? Any accessibility notes that you need to be aware of? What's the parking situation, and is it on or off campus? So I'll give you a quick demo of where resource-based custom fields live. So as with all custom fields, they live up in administration. So if we head up there and then scroll down to custom fields, and then here are a few that I prepared earlier. So we have 4 resource-based custom fields in here, one for the average feedback score, we've got the languages spoken, the training formats for the trainers, and then the venue layout. And with each of these, they have been given a name. So that's what you see when you are looking at the data grid, looking at adding or editing a resource. I always recommend including a description so that when other people are using your platform, navigating around, they know what this custom field is for. Obviously, what type of field it is it text, is it date, is it a drop-down list? Then using the new option for resource, there is only one page, so just details for the page, and then you choose in that page, in that resource details page, where do we want this custom field to go? And for all of the ones I've created so far, they've been in the venue or trainer specific section of the page. So as a quick show, this is what the average feedback score one looks like. So good name, description, it's in the resource module on the details page in the trainer section. So if I head over to resources now, collapsed, and I edit any one of those 3 trainers, I'll be able to see that average feedback score. thing. So that's where the custom fields will live. And then, of course, you can include them in your data grids as well. So I can see that at the moment, I've got languages spoken and average feedback score included in this data grid. And I think where this really comes into its own is where you are scheduling your courses. So if I'm running, like I mentioned before, a French course and I need to be able to see just French trainers, I can do that one from the trainer selector. So if I go and edit a course and head down to the resources, already have Simone selected at the moment, but if we get her unselected, I can apply my filters here. So I only want trainers that can speak French, create a new filter on my new custom field, languages spoken, contains French. Then I would just get Simone back. She had a clash actually, so she probably shouldn't be doing this course. And of course, English, I'd get everyone back there. And the same with the average feedback score. So if I filtered on that instead, average feedback score is greater than or equal to 80 and preview. I just have Kathy and Simone there. So as I mentioned, with every custom field that you get created, excuse me, you'll be able to store the information about your resources, report on it. So whether that's through your dashboards, whether that's through report writer, report engine, you'll be able to report on that information. But then probably most importantly, using it to select the right resources for your courses. Okay, moving on to, this was another highly product suggested feature actually. So there is a new column available in your credit notes data grid, which can show you the invoices that this credit note has been used on. So just very quickly again, this is for credit notes. So we'll pop out of courses and head into the credit notes data grid, which you'll find within finance. That a little bit bigger. So to add a new column into your data grid, you just use this change columns button here. So if we click on that, you will now have a new column called linked invoice. So if we get that selected and click apply, then here is our nice new column. So not only can we see which invoices this credit note relates to, fabulous, but it's also what we call a kind of dynamic field. So you can access shortcuts, go and preview that invoice, edit it, or head to the invoices data grid for just that invoice. And then you can complete actions like, commit the invoice if it needs committing, you can make payment against it, all things that you can do from the invoices data grid. Now, this linked invoices column is also available in workflow emails and email templates. So if you want to include the linked invoice reference within the emails you're sending to your customers about credit notes, then you can. Cool. Okay, in this release, we also had a price scheme update. So this was an update to the way that price schemes are looked up when they're applied to bookings and invoices. So for anyone, first of all, who hasn't used price schemes before, they're similar-ish to discounts, but they're used to define like fixed alternative costs for specific customers. So here we can see we've got 3 price schemes that exist, one for charities, one for designers, and one for a specific customer called Parisian LLC. And what we do, we build these price schemes, and they're essentially groups of users at this stage. There's nothing to do with costs here. We're just defining a group of users. And then what we do is we go to, on a per course template or a per course basis, we say for this course, emergency first aid at work, charities, everyone that's in that price scheme will pay 65 instead of whatever the standard course cost is. So that's how price schemes works. So they're very useful for when either discounts aren't suitable or when you've got an agreed contracted price with a customer. So when you schedule courses and you've defined this price scheme is £65 for charity at the course template, you schedule that course and the price scheme will get inherited down, just like the standard course cost does, the duration of the course and min-max places, all of those things that you define at the template. Okay, onto the change. So before this release, if you chose on a course level to delete the price scheme off the course and only offer the standard course cost, then the booking and invoicing process would see that the course did not have the price scheme set up. However, it would instead look at the course template and use the price scheme stored there. So this means that price schemes were still being applied to bookings, even if they had been consciously deleted from the course that was being booked. So following the release, if you delete a price scheme from a course, the booking and invoicing process no longer looks at the course template. It just looks at that course level. So yeah, a bit more flexibility with it, really. Well, I know I've been talking about these two for a while, but they are live now. So we had 2 accessibility changes included in the latest update. The first of these is a change to the red X icon that you can see here. So this is available when you're in the checkout basket, in the booker and delegate selector areas, this red X. Previously, you weren't able to tab to it using a keyboard, and now you can. And that's really important that every control on the page, every button can be tabbed to, because it means that then keyboard-only users are able to access them, and that covers people that need to use the keyboard for mobility, if they've got mobility issues and they struggle to use a mouse, and also people who navigate the web using a screen reader instead of using your classic mouse approach. So they can now access those buttons, which is great. And then the second accessibility change is within the learner portal. This logo that's displayed at the top left, which would be your logo in your platform, it's not only used for branding, it's also a link back to the home page. So no matter what page you are on inside the portal, it will take you back to this home page here, where you can use the tiles to then choose a new page. So to make sure that, again, users of screen reader software have a clear understanding of what images are for, what's the destination of links, it's really important with all of these to provide a descriptive alternative text that accurately describes where the user's going to go when they click on it. So we've added in some standard alt text to this, which is just my learning homepage, so they know where they're going to go when they follow it. Fabulous. So yeah, those are our 2 accessibility changes for the last release, which also now cover us on, that's all high priority issues have been covered in the checkout basket and the learner portal. And we're currently working through medium priority issues to make the platform as accessible as possible to as many types of users. Okay, don't worry if this looks like nonsense to you. There are not very many options for a nice image when we're talking about API feeds. But this one's quite a small change. So we already have a trainers API feed available, which is essentially a big feed of data containing all the information about trainers in your platform that can be used for integrations, various software. And we've just added an extra bit of information into that, which can be used. So we've added in this trainer user ID, this bit here. So that means that if anyone's integrating using this feed, they'd be able to take that ID and look up more information about the trainer from the user's feed. So things like contact details. And also, just while I'm here, you notice in the trainers feed, we also have added in support for custom fields. So those resource-based custom fields we were talking about earlier are also available in the feeds, which is obviously super handy for integrations. Okay, final thing for this quarter, and I think a lot of you all have probably heard about this already. Over the last couple of weeks, we've been rolling out a new admin access level called Super Administrator. So this role is about making sure that all the functionality that's available in your platform is available to at least one person in your organization. There are a lot of add-on features that we allocate out to training administrators when we either identify that it would be useful for them, or there's been a conversation, but it's very ad hoc, and it also relies on that conversation happening. So what we wanted to do with this new super admin was just make sure that all of those add-on roles, so this is things like imports and configuring forms and managing dashboards for everybody, making sure that there was one person who had just by default had access to all this stuff. So you can make use of the full platform. So that was our new super administrator. And then just alongside that, we've just this week actually updated the training administrator access to take away 3 pages that are, it's the more sensitive kind of setting. So that's things like the finance options and managing the platform's password policy. So obviously the super admins have kept access to those, but just trimmed those 3 pages out of training admin access. Cool, so a quick recap. Within checkout, we had those 2 changes. So first of all, support for Barclays BDQ as an extra payment gateway option. And then secondly, support for partial payments or taking deposits. Then we had resource-based custom fields, so you can now capture custom information about your resources. The new linked invoices column for credit notes. We had the price scheme update, and then 2 accessibility updates, one in the learner portal and one in the checkout basket. We had that new field available within the resources API or the trainers API feed to include the user ID. And finally, the super admin rollout. Excuse me. Okay, so moving on to the features that we're expecting to release in the first quarter of 2024. The first up is support for changing the from address when you're sending out emails from your platform. So this will apply to both emails that you send manually from your data grids and also emails that you send out via workflows. So you'll be able to change the first part of the email address. So you could change that to sales @ or finance @ or customer service @ whatever is relevant for that email. It could also come from a specific person, so James Smith @ you're not going to be able to change the bit after the @ symbol. That's because as part of the platform, the emails are sending from accessplanit, but there's a mask on to say it's your email address. So we need to make sure that for your sake and our sake, our reputation stays good, to make sure emails don't land in spam filters. So as an example, you'd be able to send any finance-based emails from your finance email address. But of course, you'd be able to do customer service and sales as well. Next up, we've been able to share custom fields with other modules. So with this, we've obviously got support for custom fields against a wide range of areas of the platform. We've had a lot of product suggestions in, especially over the last 3 months, really, about making those custom fields available from other modules. So one of the examples of that is course-based fields. So if you've got any custom information stored against your courses, coming soon, you'll be able to share those fields with the delegate and the placeholder modules. So that means you'll be able to include that information in those data grids, but more importantly, you'll be able to use it when you're sending workflows or include it in your email templates. So whether that's filtering your workflows or using it for information as part of your comms with your customers. So yeah, that's coming soon too. MFA, I realize I've talked about this the last couple of product updates, but I can let you know now we are about to start the testing phase, which is excellent. So MFA is that extra level of security when people are logging into the platform. And if you choose to have this enabled, then the login process will kick in whenever your users kind of log in on a new device or every 120 days from the same device. This will apply to every login route, so whether they log in through the basket, through the regular login page, it will kick in. Cool. Okay, and then we've got updating delegates when they complete a plan coming soon. So in your accessplanit platform, there are both sessional courses and e-learning plans available to manage courses that are made up of multiple parts. So e-learning plans, they're used for learning journeys that are just e-learning courses, and sessional courses, they can be used from anything from those complex blended learning journeys through to just a multi-day classroom course. And when someone's booked onto one of these courses, they get booked onto the parent course, so the sessional course or the e-learning plan course, and they also get recorded as a delegate and they get booked onto each of the sessions as well, or each of the e-learning plan courses, in addition to that main course. So coming soon, the change, both sessional courses and e-learning courses will have a new option. that when it's turned on, will automatically mark the parent delegate on the main course as completed when they complete all the parts to the plan. So if it's a sessional course, it's quite straightforward. The delegate gets marked as completed, whether that's the trainer doing it or it's an admin doing it, they get marked as completed on all of the sessions, fabulous, and that will automatically mark them as completed on the parent. Lovely. The same does go for failed as well. So if they fail everything, they'll be marked as failed on the parent course. For e-learning courses, there is a little bit more to it. So not only will the status be updated, they'll be completed on the e-learning course, also their success status and completion status, which are e-learning specific settings, they'll also be updated. And the end date of that parent course will also be set, and that'll be set as the latest end date that the user completed their last e-learning course. Cool. And then the final feature that I'd like to share with you that we're working on at the moment is called consolidate emails. So currently, any automated emails that you've got that are triggered through workflows, they generate one email per object. It's not really a better way to put that. So that object could be a delegate, could be a course, an invoice, an opportunity, but whatever that object is, there is an email generated for them. So for example, a delegate is booked onto a course, an email is sent for that delegate to confirm that booking. So when those rules are met, the email's queued to send. Lovely. But what this new feature will do is allow for multiple objects to be included on one email. So rather than you book somebody onto a course, you book 3 people onto a course, Jimmy, Karen, and Dee Dee, book all 3 onto the course. Rather than getting 3 individual course confirmation emails, you'd be able to send just the one, just to that booking user. So this would apply to reminder emails as well, certificate emails, cancellation emails. So this is really, really beneficial if you have, if your customers tend to book more than 5 people onto a course at once, they will start to just receive that one email rather than have their inbox absolutely hammered every time there is an update about the course. Okay, final thing before I move into the Q&A. So we've got 2 free optimization sessions coming up. So both of them are centered around kind of getting the most out of your data. The first session is on the 11th of January, and that's on reporting using your smart grids. Excuse me. Smart grids they typically used for activity and action. So you're managing cancellations, generating invoices and bulk updating, but they're also a fantastic place to kind of gather and report on your data. So this session, team will take you through using those platform smart grids as a reporting tool and exporting that data out and the best practice around that. And then the second session is on the basics of dashboards. I think dashboards are really important, really important to get them right, because they are the first thing you see when you get logged into the platform. They're there to present, key information, drive action, flag issues. Essentially they exist to keep you informed. But I see it so often where they become a bit of the background noise, and people stop looking at them because they just haven't been set up in a way that's ideal for you to get the most out of it. So what this webinar will do is kind of tour you through the uses of dashboards, show some great examples of the kinds of data that you can display on there, hopefully leave you with a lot of inspiration to get your dashboard set up with relevant gadgets for you. And then just a quick one, the Q1 product update this next year will be on the 4th of April. I will put the event link into the chat at the end. And then how can I talk about upcoming events without talking about Connect? So we've got our in-person customer event Connect coming next quarter. So that's in March. This is a customer event, so all the sessions are planned with you guys in mind. And there is a complete range of topics kind of centered around training management and the platform, and there'll be panels and roundtable discussions, and our product team will be running a session on the vision and the roadmap, and of course with loads of opportunity to catch up with the team here and connect with each other, and of course it wouldn't be a an Access Planet event without a good complimentary drink afterwards. So that is on the 7th of March, all dates in Manchester, and it is £20 per head. So I would, if you're interested, there are limited tickets, so I would book that soon. I'll also put the link to that in the chat as well. Cool. Okay, I'll move on to the Q&A. So you've had a few through already. Okay, so first one through, thank you, Bojan, for this one. So this is the, when we're talking about resource-based custom fields. Bojan's asked, the average feedback score, can that be automatically recorded? Now, unfortunately, it wouldn't be. This would be, the custom fields can be really whatever you want them to be. So you can call them whatever you like and store whatever information you need. But there won't be anything that ties it to other areas of the platform automatically. No, but great question. Billy's asked, the price schemes applying from the course template would have been ideal. Would this be considered as a configurable option? I'm not actually sure, but I will feed that through to the product team to find out if that's something they would consider adding in. Being able to apply a price scheme at a course template and then roll that out, make changes and roll that out. That's probably quite a good idea. Okay, another question from Bojan, great one on the multi-factor authentication or the 2FA. So again, we're looking at Q1 for that being available. And yes, we're looking at it being role-based. So Bojan's asked whether it'll be possible with the multi-factor authentication to set it to be based on only some people having to go through the process of 2FA. And you will be able to do that. You'll be able to define which roles require 2FA and which ones don't, which does make a lot of sense because 2FA is about protecting your login, kind of securing that so that the data that's available on login is protected. And obviously your super admins and training admins have significantly more access than trainers and individuals. Oh, I think Anonymous, you asked the same question. So let me know if I didn't cover the answer then. And this session has been recorded, so it'll be published. We typically tend to do a changelog post about it. So I don't know if you've, hopefully everyone has noticed our changelog before. That is available at the top of the platform here. So we've got our festive opening hours and then the updates to the roles recently. We tend to publish the video within here a few days after, which will probably be the new year now, because we'll need a bit of time for our team to get it uploaded and everything, but it will be available there if you want to share it with any of your colleagues. Oh, Billy, that's good to know. Got any other questions, please pop them in the chat. Otherwise, I will get cracking on adding the links in for the events. All right, thank you so much, everyone. Take care.